Hey y'all, I am Jennifer with Spark Flash Fiction, and today we get to chat with one of our own, Leslie Kirby DeVooght, about her book, Stealing Magnolias. So, Leslie, to start off, just in case no one's heard of Stealing Magnolias yet, tell us what your book is about.
I don't know how they wouldn't have heard by now. So my book, Stealing Magnolias, is about a girl named Wren, or a woman named Wren, and she has never fit in with her family, and her grandmother was the only person that she really connected with, and her grandmother's will ends up telling her to complete 5 challenges, and basically it's to help her find her calling and realize that doesn't need to seek to please others as much as God. So, and she finds her spiritual gifts, and there's a little romance in there, or a lot.
Yeah, that sounds good. So, tell us the inspiration behind the story. How did you come up with that idea?
So it's kind of funny because the original premise was that she didn't fit in with her family. So that part's the same. That's about it from the original premise. So Wren lives in Chicago with her family, and her parents are inner city missionaries, and her mother was adopted as a baby. And so the original premise was that Wren was going to go to Georgia to find her mother's biological parents, because there had to be a reason why she didn't fit in. So she just assumed it was because she was really Southern. And gosh, I forgot this is actually why I came up with that idea. I've got to tell my friend this. I have a friend who just continues to claim she has a master's of divinity. So let me say that she's a nonfiction Christian author, but she really loves the Hebrew language and the letters and what they symbolize and mean and all those things. So she was convinced that she had to be part Jewish. So she did the whole DNA testing, and it did not turn out that she was. I think she's like, no, she's not. Let's just put it there. The percentage was minuscule. So anyway, so that's kind of, I'd forgotten that is actually what sparked the whole idea. And so, but I was going with Southern instead. And so she was going to go to the South to find her family and see if she fit in with them.
I love that, though. As a Southerner, I'm a bit biased, but I think a lot of people wish that they were Southern. So, all right. Sure. Tell us a little bit more about Wren and this grumpy neighbor that you hear about in the blurb.
Okay. Yeah. So Wren is an interior designer, and her company is they're doing this her interior design company. The company she works for was hired by a development company to redo one house and then help set this whole development in Georgia. And there's only one other house on the property, and it's the neighbor's house. And he is a recluse and grumpy, and his real thing is that he just doesn't want anybody else near him because he's keeping some pretty big secrets. And he doesn't want he's afraid he and the town are you'll find out. I mean, something's going on. I'm not going to give away too much, but something is going on. And as one of the main characters, Brad, says constantly, he's like, something is going on with that town and that guy. And I don't know what it is, but don't get involved. And they're keeping secrets. And he's like, if this development actually happens, then somebody's going to figure out our secret, and it's going to ruin everything. So he is basically doesn't want them around because of that. But he's basically kind of a grumpy guy, except for he decides that Wren's okay, and he decides, so they get along.
Love it. So this town, is it based on a real town, or did you just completely make this up?
Okay. So it is loosely based on Stars Hollow from Gilmore Girls. So you will recognize, I'm like, that character seems kind of like that character could have been on Gilmore Girls if it was set in the South. But obviously it's set in Georgia, the coast, low country Georgia. So just kind of near Savannah. And so not Stars Hollow. And they're obviously, they're not all the same characters, but That was kind of my inspiration. Was I'm going to have this town square. There's going to be a gazebo. There's going to be a dance teacher. There's going to be a funny little theater, a diner, but like it's loosely, but yes. Oh, and the name Haslemere is the name of the town. So if you know anything about Georgia, every single town in Georgia is historic, and every like half the places, more 90% of the places are named after some place in England. And so, and a lot of things point back to General Oglethorpe, and so Haslemere was one of the places where he is from. So I just stole that and used it. So that was kind of how that got going.
I love that. Okay. Now you've mentioned a little bit about a grumpy neighbor. So I'm guessing there's a little bit of that sunshine and grumpy trope, but I'm curious, what are some other tropes that are featured in this book?
Yeah, I think the fish out of water is pretty strong. Ren doesn't, even though she's obsessed with the South and thinks she knows everything, she does weird things like she keeps calling it what does she call it? Sweetened iced tea or something like that. It's like you can just call it sweet tea. But she says sweet iced tea every time instead of saying just iced tea or sweet tea. So that's funny. That kind of fish out of water thing. And then there's a little bit of a love triangle, but it's not strong because I don't love triangles, but it's just a little bit at the beginning. And it kind of feeds itself a little bit as it goes.
So, is this kind of like a Hallmark love triangle where there's like some big city man that we all know is never going to make it to the end? Yeah.
Not really. He's actually there. So.
Oh, okay.
No, that would be funny though.
Would be funny. All right.
So they're all three there.
Oh
yes.
You're just gonna have to dig the conflict, aren't you, Leslie?
Yes. Won't be any fun without some twists and turns.
She just wants to keep us up at night. That's what it is. She doesn't want us to get any sleep whatsoever. All right. So while we're on the topic of romance tropes and love triangles and all that good stuff, since we are also catering to readers here, tell me, Leslie, what are some sweet romances that you recommend?
Yes, I just finished last night. Speaking of staying up, Kate Landry Has a Plan by Rebecca Millett. Super cute. It was really good. I did enjoy that book. So yeah, I would recommend that. But I also I'm trying to think. It's. I haven't read it yet. Usually her books are clean and closed door, but Catherine Center's book, The Love Haters, also launched on Tuesday. I'm like, and she's like one of my favorite authors, because she writes similar to me. Like it's not a true romance. Her books aren't either. They're, one POV. There's no, it's more of a women's fiction with a lot of romance in them. So her book also just launched. I'm like, oh, but so she's one of my favorite authors. I was like, you can share the day with me, Catherine. You're number 3 on Amazon right now, but it's fine. I'm like 200. So I do like her. The Bodyguard I thought was a really good book. So yeah.
All right, awesome. So I'm curious, Leslie, what made you decide to do more women's fiction with a little bit of romance instead of doing just a straight up romance?
I think I do have a straight romance book coming out December 30th. So I do write straight romance too. But as I was kind of exploring different, just like the way my voice works better and just kind of first person, past tense, I just was like, I like this place. And if you're writing that way, I don't know. I just felt like it was going to be hard to put the male character in. I will say that it makes it easier to keep secrets if you don't have the other person's point of view. So if you have a little bit of a love triangle, like I have a book that I'm probably going to put out Christmas-ish time, fall of 2026. And that was the first time I did this. And I did it because I wanted to be able to keep a secret. And I wanted to be able to have a love triangle. And if you have a love triangle and you already know, and you hear which guy it is that's talking, then there's no secret anymore. Everybody knows. There's no twist. So I wanted to have that. So that was kind of why I went there, was probably more practical to keep secrets than anything else. But I am in the next book. The second one's already written, so yay! It'll be out next April-ish. Hopefully everything works out. But in that book, I start in the guy's POV, so you get the very first scene, like a prologue. It is a prologue, and then the very last scene are in the guy's POV. So you do get to hear a little bit from there, what's going on, what started things and how things kind of ended. But after that, the rest is all just her straight. So, and I think I'm going to do that from now on. I really like the idea of it being like, you're like, oh wait, this guy, and then you don't get to hear from him more, but you know he likes something's going on. So that's going to be my new thing.
All right, that sounds good, Leslie. Now let's go back to your book because I see it behind you, and I want to hear the story behind that cover.
Oh, okay. So when I was deciding about a cover artist, I really I wanted to get somebody that kind of had a fresh, new perspective. And so we have a family friend, I will say, she's just graduated. She won from college. She won like every single award that you could get for graphic design at her college, I think. And I was like, okay, here we go. So I was like, let's just, we met, we talked about colors, and we talked about kind of the themes. And I was like, I don't want it to really look like a contemporary, like a sweet rom-com contemporary romance, because it isn't that. Even though there's a lot of romance in it, there's some comedy, whatever, it's still not that. And I didn't want to set that kind of expectation. So we kind of went back and forth and all around. And this is where she is really responsible for it. I was like, I don't know. And I was like, but I ended up really liking it. And I love how the hand is a hand. I don't know if you can see it on top. Let's pull back. I break something. So like the hand is holding these paintbrushes, and it looks like she's like charged, like they're a sword, and like she's breaking out of the mold. And that like is so symbolic of Ren. And then the part that you can't see, but the part that was funny, because when she sent it to me, I was like, I don't think that hand looks like a woman's hand. You got to like feminine it up the hand. So she painted the nails, which is hilarious because Ren would have had, before the story, she's never painted her nails. She's never had a manicure. Because she just feels like that's being too much. And so she actually gets a manicure in the book. So I thought it was so great that she suddenly had her nails painted, also on the cover as she's kind of breaking through the mold. So yeah, I really do love it. I'm like, it just has a lot of symbolism for me, and I think it's a really good cover. So
yeah, I have to agree. It's beautiful. It definitely caught my eye when I saw it on Amazon. Speaking of which, is there anywhere besides Amazon that readers can find your book?
Yeah, it's everywhere. So anywhere you buy books, it should be there. I mean, like if you go to your local bookstore, you probably have to ask them to order it. But it's definitely, Barnes and Noble, Books A Million. So Amazon. My house has several copies. I just took 5 to a neighbor. So
Oh yeah, that's exciting. All right. I got distracted. I mean, this is so cool that you get to see it in all the big bookstores because you went indie, and a lot of times indie authors, you usually see them in just like Amazon. So now, speaking of indie though, I feel like we need to talk a little bit about your YouTube channel that you have going. I know I'm throwing you a loop. I feel like we need to talk about this YouTube channel that you have going with Christy and Hunter called Go Indie Girls. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry, what did it about Indie Girl and Go Indie Girls? Is that what you said?
Yes.
You went out for just a second.
Sorry, am I back?
Oh, yeah. Yes, yeah.
Okay. Yes, about Go Indie Girls.
Well, no, I can't hear you.
All right, hold on. We're going to fix this.
Oh.
We're going to do this. Technology.
Okay. Yeah, so Go Indie Girls. So my friend I just went blue, black, and back and back. Okay. So my friend Christiane Hunter, who is also an author, and I started it might work. Okay. Started a YouTube show called Go Indie Girls. And Christy is traditionally published. I don't know, I think she has like 13 traditionally published books, but she has got 3, I think it's 3 now, indie published books, and she's got another one coming out in October. Or at least that's what I'm saying now, and now she'll have to get it out in October. And so we're just our show is really practical, but also just kind of talking about what we're going through and hopefully giving people some tips on if they want to go indie. So we're both really hybrid authors, I guess, at this point, since I have a traditional contract now. And I thought it was just going to be indie, but God had other plans. So, but it's just really, that's basically the idea. And I think it's at first, I didn't know very much. So a lot of this time I'm like just asking questions, and Christy's answering them. But since I have now published my first indie book, I have some knowledge, and I now know that Amazon will switch your category without your knowledge. And that's fine because they made me 16th in the category. I'm like, yeah, I'll take it.
Oh, man. So where else can readers find you if they want to keep up with you in your journey?
Yeah. I have a website, of course, and you can go there. It's just LeslieDeVooght.com. I think you can also get there, Leslie DeVooght. I think you can get there putting in Southern Sand Stories. I have thought like all the ways to get there. I think I even spelled DeVooght wrong so that people who just put in DeVoote also can get there. But if you just Google me, you'll find my website. And there's a form there to fill out to join my newsletter, and I send out a monthly newsletter. That's it, just once a month. That's a lot for me. And also on Instagram and Facebook. That's where else. And I would say I have a Pinterest account and I have a Twitter account. But if you go to my Twitter account, what you're going to probably see is a whole bunch of soccer stuff because I just use it to keep up with scores and to do stuff for my son who's going through the recruitment process for college soccer right now. So I would not expect to find very much there.
All right, Leslie. Well, this was fantastic getting to chat with you today. If y'all have not read anything by Leslie DeVooght, I highly recommend her stuff, but you can also go to Spark Flash Fiction and read some of her flash fiction pieces. And Leslie, you have a lead magnet for your newsletter, correct? That they can get if they sign up for your newsletter. Okay, tell us a bit about that.
Oh, wait, say it again.
Tell us a little bit about
I can almost read your lips.
Tell us a bit about what they will get if they sign up for your newsletter. Okay, hold on.
if they join my newsletter?
Yes. Yes.
So she is. Yeah. So that's what I thought you were going to say. I'm sorry. I'm reading your life and you and everything. Okay. So I'm going to tell. Well, yeah. Okay. So if you join my newsletter, you will get a free book. It's called In the Fictional Town of Woodley, Georgia, which is South Georgia. And it's actually the same town that the book that's coming out with Love Inspired in December is set in. I'm probably going to just use that town for any straight romances because it's easy. I know everybody there. I know that's fake. And I know where everything is in the fake town. So that's probably going to be my Love Inspired town. But anyway, and so yeah, it's called If Only, and it's about a guy owns a blueberry, and South Georgia, there's lots of blueberry birds. And South Georgia is actually very similar to the places where you grow olives in other parts of the world. And so he and his now dead wife decided to go into that. She sells skincare products, and so she's trying to get more money because she has a little sister who's not really her little sister. And this is also a reunion romance, so that's a problem. So they dated in college, and the little girl's 5. They haven't seen each other in 5.5 years. Just, do the math. And so anyways, so her evil stepmother is trying to take the little girl away. Oil and the skincare line, and voila, things happen.
That sounds great. So y'all go sign up for your newsletter so you can get that free story, and go check out Leslie DeVooght, and make sure that you go add Stealing Magnolias to your TBR. I hope everyone has a great weekend. Thank you so much for watching, whether you are watching live or the replay. And keep up with Leslie because, like she said, she's got another book coming out soon, and you are definitely going to want to check that. So that's it for us for right now. Thank you so much for joining us.